Hey guys, and welcome back to Battle Network 6. We're high above the exhibits now. This one was for Seaside Town, I believe? I don't recall there being any octopi in, like, Sky Town. I may have missed it.
So I have to say, out of all of the secret getaway passages that a corrupt official could have, this one is kind of lame, because it just leads you back to an educational exhibit. It's like he really wanted to learn, but he didn't want anybody to find out that he was doing that.
On top of that, he just didn't want to pay. You know, he's a cheapskate as well as an arsehole.
Wait, he was the one who organized the fucking thing. Naturally, he wouldn't have to pay, I would assume.
Oh, man, no. The elected official needs to be seen to be helping the economy along. I don't think you get how this works.
Also, obvious question. I'm gonna guess those are statues, but the way they're stacked up creates, like, this weird, convenient little path. Like, who would set up, like, statues of, like, animal wildlife that way? That makes no sense to me.
Well, as you can see, there's a path over there, so it probably was intentional.
Maybe, you know, somebody with an ice beam just froze all of them all, and they're just conveniently in line.
Oh no, Dolphin, not you too. Dolphins should be on the side of good.
Oh, did you crash the dolphin? Is that a thing? Okay. It's all coming back to me now, you know, in those little snippets that I tend to do. So basically, like, the big thrust of this whole thing, this whole, like, big old final section of the game, is that you went back to, like, the expo, and you're going through all the exhibits, and you're kind of tackling mini-dungeon versions of all, like, the main dungeons you've tackled so far. Battle Network has done this in the past, and I'm going to warn you now, I'm going to rely on my extremely spotty memory for this.
Oh, joy.
Yeah, thank you. But I do remember more clearly that with, like, at the end of Battle Network 1, and you know the big thing with Mega Man is that usually there's, like, the boss refights.
Oh, yeah.
And things like that. But a more traditional kind of RPG trope is to have the final dungeon be comprised of shit from all the previous dungeons, you know? It's just, like, a see how far you've come kind of thing.
Yeah, well, yeah, I get that, you know, testing your abilities. I can't really think of many RPGs that have, like, final dungeons that are just kind of, like, copy and paste.
I'm pretty sure there's some like that, because I know I've played them before, but naturally, for the life of me, I cannot fucking tell you where these would be.
Yeah, the Let's Play curse, it's not just gameplay that suffers when you're live.
And I know, like, in the past, the one final dungeon I do remember clearly was the one from Mega Man Battle Network 1, where you basically get your crew together, you know, you have a posse at this point, you go storm World 3's fortress. And all the various little subsections are comprised of areas that take pieces and cues from, like, the previous areas and things like that. You know, just duplicating all the puzzles. I seem to recall that the way Battle Network 6 does it is a little bit more memorable. Because the thing is, with the Battle Network 1 final area, you're kind of going through it, and then you stop, you get to a point that you can't cross by yourself, then one of your friends comes in and helps. And basically, he's out of the action, things like that. So it's basically carving a path for you to get to the Life Virus, which was the final boss in that game.
Okay.
It is kind of strange that Battle Network resisted the tendency to do just, like, boss refights a bunch in a row. I guess they really kind of want to differentiate themselves and make it really feel more like an RPG with, again, like, the traditional final dungeon tropes. So I guess the next kind of runner-up prize is just repeating shit from the previous dungeons.
Yeah, so obviously this was Dive Man's dungeon, and it's like Helldragon said, it's mini this time. Instead of, like, 2 or 3 rounds, we only have to do it once. There are a lot of viruses bopping about here and there, so that can make it pretty tricky. The area is quite large, so you'll have to be on the ball when coming back with one of the Mr. Progs, taking them to the tank and whatnot. The gimmick's, like, essentially the same, so if you remember how it worked in Seaside Town, you'll be fine here.
It's not too bad, of course. I mean, like, as we've said before in the past, dungeons in this game aren't particularly awful, and, you know, I am a fan of, like, the judge tree and things like that, so it'll be good to kind of do more of those puzzles, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
But until then, we must find other ways to kill time as we traverse places we have been before.
Okay.
I guess a question I want to ask, actually, and this one just came to mind, and I know you have very limited kind of Battle Network experience as a whole for this kind of thing. But, okay, based on what you know, let's say in some magic universe there was a Battle Network 7. Now, I'm not talking about the fan one that they're making. I'm talking about, like, an actual legit Battle Network 7 to kind of follow up after this game. What do you think they should keep And what do you think they should change? Like, give me your opinion on this.
Well, first and foremost, you gotta bring the fucking crosses back, if nothing else.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I agree. Like, the crosses were really good in this game. I agree.
And I swear to God, if the drive forms aren't back in Kingdom Hearts 3, I'm gonna cry on Twitter, I guess. Because that's
the drive forms weren't the drive forms weren't that good. You know that. I guess my main problem with that is that how it tied abilities to the drive forms, and you know me, I love my spammy dodge roll stuff.
Oh, wow. Play Final Mix if you want your beloved dodge roll. God, I'm so hypocritical when I say that, because I extolled the virtues of dodge roll like nobody else. I shelled it hard.
Yeah, that's for sure. So, okay, you want to bring back the crosses. What else would you bring back? You can't do Beast Out, obviously, because of the stuff that'll happen, so.
That's a gimmick that's tied to the story.
I mean, yeah, that's true, I agree. I mean, it's a cool thing. Maybe they have, like, an alternate version of that would be kind of nice. But I guess if you were going to make a Battle Network 7, you'd have to sort of come up with a whole new gimmick in general. My idea, personally, and this was kind of something I was bopping around with, back when... You know, back when I was doing the accursed Battle Network forum. My idea was sort of, I thought the next thing they were gonna do, and no, I have no idea why this turned into a person, a little bit weird, but the idea I was having was that I thought after this they were gonna do, like, more Battle Network stuff, but it was gonna be like the X series, you know what I'm saying? Because, and I think this was a reasonable prediction, because this is Capcom, and we do know how they love to refresh shit. So, I was thinking they would kind of do stuff like the new character, either related to LAN or maybe somebody new entirely. They would have a Mega Man X, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there thinking, oh, we get to see cool shit, like fucking Magma Dragoon EXE and Commander Yamark EXE, and that would just be fucking rad. You know what I'm saying?
Not to give too much away, but Lan does procreate in the end. He does have kids. I won't say who his wife is.
Spoiler alert, people have children. Thank you for warning me about that.
Do I need to have the lecture about not showing me up in comms again? Do we need to have that talk for not once, not twice, but thrice of a time?
Alright, go ahead.
Okay, the point I was going to make was maybe set it in the next generation with Lan's son or daughter, and maybe, you know, since Mega Man's immortal, tie it into your X idea, have his code strangely corrupt somehow, and he evolves into Mega Man X.
That would be kind of an interesting way to do it. And it is a good point that you bring up. I didn't actually think about that in terms of Mega Man being immortal. I think my original idea was just to have Mega Man just be around. You know, because, I mean, he can't die, obviously. But he would be kind of like a mentor to X, which I think would have actually been kind of an interesting relationship to explore, in my opinion.
What would you leave out from Mega Man Battle Network 6? I guess you could tie it into the other Battle Network games as well, because from what I've seen, a lot of them seem to share the same mechanics. Which one's buggy the most?
Well, I have to be honest with you. One reason I love 6 so much is that it corrected a lot of the crap I didn't like about previous Battle Network games. The crosses are really fun. Beast Out is solid. The chips are great. It feels balanced. The bosses are fair. You know, the dungeons are better. Really, the main thing I would have gotten rid of in a Battle Network 7, which presumably would have been on the DS, instead of, like, Star Force and things like that, I would have just gotten rid of random encounters. Because... we're at a point where you don't really need to do random encounters anymore. You could use, like, some sort of data blob or whatever roving on the overworld to represent, you know, encounters, and you would choose whether or not to run into them. Hell, even dungeon crawlers like fucking Persona 4 and presumably Persona 5, and I think Persona 3 did that as well. I don't know, I haven't played Persona. But even they did that kind of stuff. Because, to be honest, we have better technology for that kind of thing. And this would especially be important on, like, a portable system, where you kind of need the ability to not be caught in that kind of stuff all the time, you know what I'm saying, on the fly.
Well, you're heavily biased against the concept of random battles in the first place, so...
That's true, and like I've said before, Superstar Saga kind of spoiled me in that regard, and Chrono Trigger, so, you know, just following a good example here.
There's the last Mr. Prog down there.
And I'm trying to remember some of the other ideas I had in terms of that X series. I think one of the ideas that I remember distinctly was, you know how in, like, Mega Man X5, they had, like, the original names for, like, the Mavericks, but then, like, the American version gave them names based on, like, the Guns N' Roses characters?
I've only played 6, mate.
Okay, well, that's what they did.
Okay.
One of the characters, one of the bosses in Mega Man X5 was a guy named Taito Makoin. He was like basically like a killer whale. And in the American version, they called him, get this, Duff McWhalen.
Nice! I've heard of this guy.
Duff McWhalen is actually an awesome fucking name, I'm not gonna lie. Completely corruptive of, like, the original character.
Here he is, by the way.
But my idea was that they would have a Taito Makoin EXE, but his day job is actually a mascot for a drink, and he's called Duff McWhalen.
Nice.
And he goes fucking nuts, because he fucking hates being Duff McWhalen. I thought that would have been great to do, actually.
I would have thought twice about bringing this thing back with me. I didn't realize the gimmick of the stage needed an escort.
Well, I don't know, maybe the Sharks change his mind. You never know. Maybe Sharks can turn over a new leaf.
I suppose. Okay, let's shut this shit down.
Okay, I gotta reboot the dolphin here. There we go. Okay. I just hope you didn't have to jiggle the handle, because God knows where that would be on a dolphin.
The GameCube is saved.
I wonder what happens if you hit the turbo button on a dolphin, now that I think about it. Did you know, actually, and thank you, Lazy Game Reviews, for pointing this out. I don't know if you do you watch his stuff, by the way?
I do not. Please continue.
You really should.
Okay,
I think
don't need
like
the shilling. Just get on with your tidbit,
okay,
please.
Tom. Oh, wait, no, there's implied fighting. Hold on, give me a moment.
No, it was just him going through the passageway. It's fine. He's pushing his way through coats.
Oh, okay. It's like when you're in the ball area at, like, McDonald's when you're little, and you're just pushing through, like, a dark world. But, he actually explained that the turbo button does not make the computer go faster. No. It actually slows things down in order for the frame rate... Yeah, I know. It's cosmic, isn't it?
Yeah, Zawaldo!
It actually slows down the computer so that games and other programs don't run too fast and have, like, ridiculous frame rate and things like that. I have no idea why the fuck it's called Turbo Button, but that's just me.
Well, I learned something here today. It's not exactly Mega Man related, but it'll do. Oh, here we go. The last stand of Judge Man.
Well, I hope you gave Judge Man some battle chips to work with if you're not going to be sitting there. Oh, I just love how he covered it up. Like, oh, I'm ashamed that there's a hole in this tree.
Who needs the law when you have a gun?
Why didn't they give Judge Man a gun? Let's think about this. Actually, like, the first thought I think of when I think of a guy who delivers judgment, who would be a net navvy, it would be a cowboy. I mean, you know, like a vigilante. But they actually do, in Phantom of Network, I think, which was like one of the cell phone Mega Man games. They have a guy called Rideman EXE, who's like a fucking cowboy. He's McCree, you know, EXE, basically. And he actually gets corrupted by a Trojan horse, and he becomes Reverse Rideman, and he's like a horse dude, which is just odd, but kind of neat.
Okay, well, you've seen Rideman, his Reverse Rideman.
Alright, thank you very much. Although, when I heard Reverse Rideman, I personally thought it was going to be one of those situations where they just flip him upside down. Because that would work, I think, within the context of net navies.
You guys know how the Judge Man thing works. Just don't double back and you're good to go.
Other than that, it's just a nice little casual jaunt. I mean, yes, sure. Barrel is kind of going to fuck the world over along with Dr. Wily, but at the same time, I feel we could take this moment to sort of relax and remember all the good times we've had so far in the Battle Network playthrough.
Oh, if I had actually played the other, Battle Network games, this is where I'd put just a montage of, like, Land vs. Dr. Wily, the happier times.
Land vs. Dr. Wily, Land vs. Gospel, Alpha, who the fuck was... Oh yeah, Duo was in the fourth game, I remember. Duo was kind of a neat idea for a boss, although that game was pretty fucked, let's be honest.
Duo is that big blue robot guy who protects the world, right?
Well, he's like that in the classic version. In the Battle Network version, he is, he's one who delivers judgment on man. And he actually, he shows up in Battle Network 4 via a meteor, I believe, because he wants to bring that fucker down on the planet because humanity is evil and shit like that. And there's a big evil theme in Mega Man Battle Network 4, and it's totally not half-assed at all and things like that.
Okay. I just remember Duo from the Archie comics. I believe he was in Worlds Collide?
Yeah, because he shows up originally in Mega Man 8, so they kind of had to use time travel bullshit to sort of get him in the comics a little bit early. But my favorite thing about Duo EXE is that iconic attack he does, where his face grows super huge, and then he launches it at you. It's called Anger Impact, and it's probably the funniest thing this series has ever produced.
If you ever go out with like a blaze of glory, that'll be your final attack, I think.
That's what's gonna happen to me. I think I'm gonna be in like a big final battle, and I'll just shoot my face at the enemies.
It'll just be, the expression will just be all those faces you make in those really silly photos.
I am literally this fucking pissed. Oh, I remember now. We actually get to refight Judge-Man because we didn't refight him earlier for some reason.
We're gonna be refighting all the net navis who haven't blown away for good.
Judge-Man, you really trying this shit again, son?
Sit down. Let me show you how a real net battle is played out.
See, this is what happens when you threaten a Balrog. You get fucking killed.
Oh, you guys know how Judge-Man works. Same as before. Second verse, same as the first, but he's a little bit faster.
And this time we're gonna use fire to burn these books, because it seems like a wise idea.
Yes, you can destroy the books.
Are you gonna use this opportunity to kind of correct some things that people have brought up in the comments regarding some bosses and things like that?
How do you mean, mate? Is there anything specific?
Oh no, I was just asking in general, really.
Oh, well, you should have a topic on hand if you're gonna bring that kind of thing on, mate. Someone professional.
Well, you know me, like, I'm just kind of pulling shit out of my ass as we go. I've been doing this for many years, and it seems to have worked out pretty well.
I think you've regressed, truth be told, mate.
Maybe.
Well, that was really mean of me. I'm going to show you all a little sick trick right here. We do the cross beast, we charge up this chip right here, blow these guys away, charge up again, man, stop sending books out. Boom!
Nicely done.
Oh yeah, and all the cross beast outs have a special thing like that. I believe, in fact, I believe the normal crosses can charge chips as well. For some reason, I just never got around to using it. Like, I believe cross out or whatever can allow you to charge up, like, non-dimming sword chips and, like, do a long-range kind of thing. You know, stuff like that.
Well, still, seeing some Heat Beast is pretty good. It's a good design.
Heat Beast. That's rad.
That is pretty rad.
Yeah, so yeah, we just committed murder. Don't worry, though, we killed the judge, so he can't try us for it.
And that's how you reset the Satellite of Love.
We have defeated trees forever.
Thank God. About time somebody got to that.
Oh, the evil, oppressive tree is granting us oxygen and the means to live on their planet.